He has a lot more people that came before me. What's going to separate me and other people is my hard work and consistency and drive, which is unmatched. Listen, this isn't a game. This isn't a joke. You can't just sit down with Rick Ross and expect like him just to say, yo, bro, what's going on? No, we want to see hard work. You can make one decision, you're dead. You can make one decision, all your money's gone. I can say one thing right here, and my career's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, life is literally based off second to second to second. No one can, excuse my language, quit me. Because I have so much content that I'll overflow.
Yo, welcome back to the Heatin' Up podcast, the hottest podcast in the game. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, follow, rate, all that good stuff. But again, thank you for tuning into another episode. Finally, as promised, we got y'all a guest episode. But it's not just any guest. Our guest today is the coldest interviewer in the West Coast. He started his brand from the ground up and has worked with the likes of Rick Ross, Boosie, Antonio Brown, and so many more. It's the man who never stops working, Matty Ice.
Yo, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, bro.
The hottest podcast and the coldest podcast. We had
That's
to do
what,
it.
literally, that was the gimmick. In my head, I'm like, this is the
cool.
first one. This is really, bro, I really do appreciate you coming out. Again,
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your content, bro. Your quality is amazing. You know what you're doing, and I've mimicked stuff on this podcast looking at you. So it's like it's pretty surreal to have you on here, and it's dope. So again, I really appreciate you coming on. But let's just jump into it, bro. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, are you 35 now?
35. Yeah,
35. Okay. I did my research. I'm telling you, I did my
35,
research.
yeah.
So 35, you've been doing this. You started, what, 3 years ago?
Started 3 years ago, yeah.
Okay,
years ago,
so
right before the pandemic, right? Like right around the pandemic.
So you were about like 32 when you started. Before you started, like, what were you up to? Like, what was Matty Ice before Matty Ice?
So, I'm originally from Illinois, and I was always involved in like the music scene as far as like promotions and stuff like that. I used to throw a lot of concerts in Illinois and Chicago, and honestly, I didn't really like working on the promotional side of things with artists. And I always said, you know what, maybe I'm going to get into music management, or maybe I always wanted to be in the music industry. Obviously, I'm not an artist. I can't rap. I'm not a producer. I don't know if I can produce or not. Something I've always wanted to try, but I never did it. But I've always had, I feel like, a voice for radio. I worked for different radio stations back in the day and stuff like that, and different radio marketing companies. And I always felt like I had a voice for radio, and I always wanted to kind of be a voice talent. So I took that with the music industry, and I brought that into one thing in the Matty Ice Show, and it kind of just started from there.
Okay.
And
when you first started it, I could have sworn you had like athletes on at one point, right? It wasn't just the music. Like,
I had athletes on. So originally it was really started off of like sports betting. Actually, the name was the first thing was called ever was the LFG podcast. That was the first thing ever. Was just let's fucking go.
Yeah.
LFG podcast. It's very, very kind of corny, basic, whatever. And it was originally because I had a passion for football, and I like betting sports. Make sure you're doing it the right way, not taking it overboard and stuff like that. Responsible. Yeah. Started off like that, but I always knew music was what I was going to get into. And I wanted to start off like interviewing like that. So I interviewed guys like Byron Murphy right off the bat and Christian Kirk right off the bat from the Cardinals, and got to interview, bigger names right off the bat. But my passion was always in music and artists, and then I started interviewing musicians and artists and hip hop artists, and then it never stopped from there. I think I'm at like 300 interviews now on YouTube.
Oh my God.
I think we are at 300 on YouTube.
Literally 3 years, 300. Like, you're making 100 interviews per year. Like,
that's insane.
And when you started, you weren't on this like trajectory, right? Like, what was your start like? Were you fast like from the jump?
So I think the difference between me and other platforms is I'm not doing anything formulated. I don't have a day where I drop. I don't have an hour where I drop. I have 10 interviews that are in my YouTube right now that are unlisted. So like right now I have interviews I can technically say I'm going to drop, every week for the next 10 weeks, but I kind of drop when timing's the best for them and for me too. And I feel like I'll drop 3 interviews in a night just to flood, because how I look at it is this, is like, Yeah, I have my own fan base, but do I really have such a fan base where somebody's dying to wait for the Matty Ice Show, right?
Yeah.
So how I look at it is, you know what? I have to get fans. So why not drop 3 interviews in a night? Let every one of their audience watch my interviews. Those are my fans now. So like I have 3 different people in different states watching my interviews from different categories and different markets. And I think that's why I do that too. But 300, this year's actually been a slower year. 21 was a massive year for me.
Which is crazy because that was during COVID, right?
21 was a massive year, and I think it was a massive year because I opened up Matty Ice Studios, and I linked up with Rose and Belaire right around a little bit earlier, but the word got out, and I just went crazy in my branding, and I built up whatever the case might be. 21 was a big year. We won podcast of the year out here, by Arizona Trending. That was cool. But 21 was a big year. 22 was a lot of trials and tribulations, still a big year. And, here we are in 23 and, we're going. So
and, again, bro, like you've done such a good job, like marketing yourself. You forget, like you're still 3 years. That's not a long time. It's not like you've been in the game.
Right. 3 years.
So
3.5 years, 3 years.
What you've done to like build your brand. I mean, and you brought up Rose, you brought up the boss. Now, I didn't want to bring it up because I know you've already talked about it on other podcasts, but I thought it was such an incredible story of how you even linked up with Rick Ross. Like, what was, if you don't mind explaining one more time,
Sure.
How did you even get the opportunity to work with Rick Ross and partner alongside him?
So, I get asked this a lot, but I think it's important that it is asked too, because it is a part of my story and a part of how this platform kind of took off. And I always say Ross is the catalyst to what I'm doing because he truly is. I DM'd Ross 2.5 years ago, 6 months into my show. And I wrote him a DM and it said, yo, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. I was sponsored by Bang Energy at the time. Not that I have anything wrong with Bang. I just didn't like how, I thought my brand would do much better with Ross's brand with Belaire. And I wrote Ross that. And from his to his verified Instagram account, keep in mind, I barely had, that many followers at that point. Yeah. And it was really just off of what I wrote to him and really being observant of what he posts every day. And I wrote it around midnight. Woke up in the morning and I had a DM response from him, and it was for sure his account. There's no bullshit. So I wrote back, and the relationship started from there. And it's been building ever since. And I got to meet him a couple years ago now, or a year and a half ago, I would say. And it's been no matter what happens, I'll always never forget Rick Ross and how I think he changed my life in a lot of ways as far as like, and that's crazy to say that, but I think he changed my life in ways of like, he really gave me a new drive. That's the best way to say it. This platform, I mean, for him to be...
Yeah, I mean, how can it not, bro? You have one of the biggest, like, of all time.
Well, and it's so crazy just to see somebody that like, with his statue, he has like 17 million followers, and he's always making sure to make sure to check in on my posts and make sure he sees the artist freestyling or to see different artists that are coming on the platform or whatever the case might be. He's always engaging, and he's never left me hanging as far as that's concerned. He always has been really engaging in the show, and in return, I'm always making sure that I'm loyal to Maybach Music and to Belaire and to his brands. And that's never stopped. I mean, that has truly never stopped. When you go to my page, 90%, 100% of my stuff has to do with Belaire or has to do with Maybach Music or anything that Ross has to do with. I'm gonna now Ross is talking about this new smoking company called High Tolerance. Well, that's what I'm on now too. So anything that Ross is on, I'm gonna be on because that's how deep my loyalty is to him. And it gets deeper than that. Now I'm also signed to Solid Ground Empire, which is Rick Ross's manager, Jeter K.
Oh, congrats, bro.
He has a company called Solid Ground, which is a management company and label. And now I'm officially signed to his management team. And that's been, Jeter's a very important person to this show.
If I'm not mistaken, the reason I love this story is because when I heard it, you were with Bang, as you said. But once you started like working with Rick Ross a little bit, they dropped you, right? And we're talking about that's a partnership, that's money, that's revenue.
Yeah,
At the time, you starting off, that matters. So, like, what was that like?
So, not that they weren't breaking me off like this much bread or anything, but it was like an ambassador thing. It was like a few $100s a month, and then they were giving me some product. It was very nice of them, and to be real with you, super cool, because I was a new podcast. I had a contract with them. Shout out my boy Seth Bishop, who's an artist. Maybe you guys can get him on the show. He's out here and in California. He kind of hooked me up with them, and they liked my approach, and we did a little thing. And it wasn't that they were a bad company or anything like that. It was, I'm in hip-hop now, and hip-hop is Belaire, and I want to work with Ross. And it was like more of that. And yeah, they did, because it was more of like, yo, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're doing this, which was cool. Wasn't the risk versus reward wasn't anything like, for me, that was like, oh, I'm really risking something here. And Ross gave me the green light. So, and I knew myself. I know, like, okay, Rick Ross has gave me the green light. I'm going all in, and I'm like, I don't think you really understood the green light you just gave, And
that's an opportunity you don't miss, right? And how many people does he give that opportunity to? Like, that's how you got to think about it, and that's smart. And you capitalized on it. And you've done great, bro. Again, like, I do see Rick Ross in your posts, pictures of Rick Ross sitting at his tables doing all this. So it's cool to see how genuine he is, because again, like, he didn't know you. You were just a fan, and you loved his brand. It's true. And he saw that you hustled, and that DM you sent changed everything. Because most people don't even send that DM out.
It's true.
Because they're like, what are the fucking odds? How am I ever going to get someone to see that? Yeah. But that story literally is, you see Prime on all these podcasts. We're not sponsored by Prime, but I'm a huge fan of KSI Logan Paul, and I love the drink. And I'm like, why would I not? I'm not sponsored by anyone. We're small. Well, we're still like growing. So it's something I'm passionate about. And I'm like, I'm going to take those risks. I tag them. I do this. But the DM thing is crazy, because you never know. Just take that chance.
You know what it is? Consistency, man. So like I said, you guys, if you go to my page, I have over like 1,100 posts. And out of those 1,100 posts, 950 of them, you're going to see Belaire involved in it. That's just a fact.
I'm like, damn, this guy's an alcoholic, bro. I'm like, Jesus Christ, to get him off of it.
You go to the 1,100 posts, 950 of them, you're going to see Belaire. And that's why Ross genuinely respects my platform and what I'm doing. It's a lot more than just talking. It's, you got to put the work in if you are going to garner Ross's attention and be able to be in that same room. Like, listen, this isn't a game. This isn't a joke. You can't just sit down with Rick Ross and expect, like, him just to say, yo, bro, what's going on? No, we want to see hard work. We want to see consistency and dedication and loyalty to the brands and to what you're doing. And I think that's why, I've said this before in other podcasts. A year and a half ago on New Year's, not this New Year's, last New Year's, I walked up to him, and we've gotten a lot closer since then. Okay, I've seen him like 15 times since then. But at that moment, I went up to him in New Year's in Dre's, and I said, "Hey, in Vegas, thank you so much for supporting the platform, and appreciate you." And he said to me, shook my hand, and he said to me, "Good, because if you stop, it's over with," and walked away. And but the thing is I said, you know what? Okay, cool. I'm not stopping. I'm only going to get bigger, and I'm only going to work harder. Yeah. That lit more gas under me, bro. And he just wanted to keep it going. Like, don't get comfortable. Yeah. Don't get comfortable. Mm-hmm. Just because you've been doing your thing for a year. He has family members. He has friends. He has brothers. He has sisters. He has kids. He has a lot more people that came before me. What's going to separate me and other people is my hard work and consistency and drive, which is unmatched. Like I said, 950 out of 1,100. Mm-hmm. That you can't take that away.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. And like, speaking of brands and stuff, you said you've never tried Prime before?
I've never tried Prime.
You've never tried Prime before? That shocked me, low-key, yeah.
Okay. I'm thirsty too, by the way.
Okay. Prime test, Matty Ice.
Okay, so this is Prime.
Test. Right. Tropical Punch. It's a good one.
Punch. All right. Let's try it.
Keep it honest. If it's ass, it's ass.
I like Tropical Punch. No, this is good, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you believe me if I told you there are 0 grams of added sugar and only 2 grams of total sugar?
And there's only 25 calories in this.
25 calories.
Oh, yeah. Less than
it's a better for you hydration beverage, and it is very good. Like, I genuinely have not had a Gatorade since I've tried Prime.
It's really good. It has a thicker flavor too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's dope. It's good.
More consistency.
There we go. Sponsor us, bro. Please.
Hey, you know what? Just like with Belaire and Ross, just keep doing your thing. Keep tagging him. Keep doing things like this. Brands love that. And be consistent with it. Because eventually you're going to be like, you know what? fuck, he can go do this with another company.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well just jump on board and send this guy some product and hook him up a little bit and just be supportive of his brand, you know? Just keep being consistent with it.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. And again, like, your story is sick, bro. The Rick Ross, the way you hustled, I take that into my life. I'm like, that's something I want to work towards too. So it's a really cool message. And it's like, you know, people see these like giant celebrities working with people. They're like, oh, they just probably got it easy. Like, whatever. They got lucky, whatever. But they don't know like the hard work, the hours you spent working to get this. So I feel like it's such a cool thing. And that's why I like hearing about it. And I know you said it before, but like, I thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's a dope story.
And it's, you know, it's important too. You know, you go to marketing and branding. I feel like I have the best graphic designer in the industry.
Phenomenal work, bro.
I work with Two Raw Designs. His name is Nick. He's out of New York. And he's been, it's funny. I bought a Belaire, like, it was actually like a Belaire beanie or ski mask from him like a couple years ago, right? For photo shoots. And that's how we met. He had it like up for sale online somewhere on some site. And I bought it from him. And then ever since then, he's been doing my graphics. And like, I felt like ever since he kind of took on board too, my marketing just became, you know, so much better. So I want to shout out Two Raw Designs.
So I actually, speaking of, since you brought him up, like your team, you started solo, right? For the first few?
I never had a co-host. I kind of wanted one in the past. You know, I never had one yet. It's been just me, but I always have guests. But I've worked with, you know, a ton of different videographers. One that I've really worked with a lot is Weasel, who I talk about a lot. But I've worked with a lot of different guys, and there's so many different talents here and creatives. But definitely Weasel is somebody that I've been locked in with for a while and worked with for a long time. Not so much right now because he's doing some other stuff, but definitely in the past, and definitely a major role into my show.
So where do you see, like, Matty Ice is the brand, right? Matty Ice Show. Where do you see this?
Tattooed on me, I'm stuck. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
So I got the whole bicep.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so.
Oh, sick. By the way,
cool.
again, did you come up with that stuff? I know you have a great graphic designer. Did you come up with like the image?
I told him what I kind of wanted, and he went off on it. That was Two Raw Designs. Yeah.
It's sick.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so you've been doing it for 3 years. Let's give it another 5 years. What is the goal? When you started this, were you just doing it because it was a passion? Were you doing this because you were like, I want to do this as a career? Are you doing this because you're like, this is going to be the next biggest thing? What was your intention when you started, and what's your intention now? You're 3 years in.
I just thought I was really dangerous for this. I know myself, and I thought I'm very dangerous in this community. As far as this was made for me, and so I knew there was going to be some success with it, and I didn't really know. I just knew it was never going to stop. I still don't necessarily know what the ultimate bottom line is going to be. There will be an ultimate bottom line. I think this will be something that I can, you know, pay for a house with one day, or, you know, put away money for future kids, whatever the case might be. I believe the Matty Ice Show will be that. We're 3 years in. You know, Rick Ross didn't drop his song Hustling till he was like 35, 36 years old. You know, that was my age, you know, and you think about that. So it takes time. I don't want to go the radio route. I never want to go to the radio. I never want to work for a radio station, even though that's crazy, because like that's so much easier to pull artists.
Yeah.
You know, I'm solo. I'm solo dolo. Like, I'm Matty Ice DMing people. I don't have a radio station pull. Like, if you call up like Meek Miller, one of these big artists, and you're like a big New York station, you got to go take that interview. You can't deny that. You got that. You need that publicity, right?
Yeah.
But if I call, you can make a choice. Do I want to do it, or do I have to do it? You know what I mean? I don't really need to do it, right? Like, yeah, but some, you know, it just depends. So for me, my house is a little different. But I'm not right now. Like I said, working with Jeter, that's a big play. You know, he's able to put me in rooms with people that I wouldn't be able to put myself in. And I think we're just going to continue networking and moving forward day by day, and continuing to work and be consistent. And there will be a bottom line. I'm just not exactly sure yet.
Are you already farther than you thought you were going to be?
I don't know. I it's a good question. I think I'm very happy with the foundation that I built. and the relationships that I built along the way. I wouldn't say I'm really ahead of the game of really a lot of people, but I would say that I built some incredible relationships. I've had some incredible guests on the show. I even interviewed like the Fire Festival guy, Billy McFarland. Like,
I saw that.
Yeah,
That's sick.
Great interview.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's the other thing. Like, I want to be an interviewer. I want to be able to branch out and interview other people too, besides artists. So,
okay. So you do see this branching out.
Yeah, I'm an interviewer. I'm an interviewer, but I'm always going to be tied into Maybach Music and Belaire no matter what. Like, if a company hit me up right now and they're like, "Yo, bro, we're going to give you $5,000 a month, but we don't want you to work with Belaire anymore," I would say no. Like, it's just more of a loyalty thing with me now. It's like, yo, Ross has been so loyal and consistent with me, and I'm going to continue to
do the same for him.
For sure. It's not money with me.
Would you mind me asking if Belaire is paying you?
Me and Belaire have a great situation, you know, as far as with me, Ross, and Belaire, and we have a great situation.
Is it more about value then, kind of, or
there's different things, you know, involved within what we're doing. I'm very happy.
Well, good. Honestly, he's right. You've been promoting him for how long now? What, 2 years?
2.5 years since Ross gave me the green light.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's gotta be good.
I'm very happy. Like I said, I'm very happy, and the relationship with Ross itself is worth more than any money that anybody can pay me. Truly.
So, like, going back to your, like, you know, let's go back to your 20s. You know, did you ever see yourself in this position?
I saw myself as like a music manager.
Oh, really?
Okay.
So
you
you
were
already
always
had
in
like
love-
a future of wanting to be like a music manager and stuff like that, and that was just on your.
Loved hip hop, loved rap growing up, loved the music scene growing up, loved the clubs growing up, but more into EDM, which is weird. Like I DJ'd EDM and like wasn't the weird club Euro scene.
Yeah,
I did a lot of that shit. You know, in the Chicago days, but always loved hip hop and always loved rap, and just was always like a little troublemaker, and but always wanted to be involved in music, and it was very like just always caught my attention, and you know it makes sense now.
Was there ever a Matty Ice rapper era? Did we ever get a couple projects out?
You know what's crazy? No, but my screen name for AIM was Ice Player for Show.
That's fine.
I was thinking of it the other day. But that was my screen name for AIM. You know, back in the day, Ice Player for Show. Straight up.
But you never made any tracks?
I never made any hip hop or rap tracks. No, I can't rap. I've tried. I can't rap. I can't do any of that.
Okay, but you tried. Okay,
I was
just
any
curious.
songs? Have you made it?
Never made any songs. I used to DJ, like you know, never made any rap songs or anything like that.
So would you be able to, like you said, you've always been into like rap and hip hop and all that stuff. Would you be able to give us your top 5 rappers of all time right now?
Ooh, good question.
Top 5 rappers of all time right now.
Yes,
by the way, I love this interview. This is a great interview.
Thank you.
Top 5 rappers of all time right now. If I had to, like, you know, dead or alive.
No.
You don't.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah,
Dead.
I mean,
Let's
you grew up in a different generation than us, so you
Are you saying all of his rappers are dead, bro?
Well, no,
no,
but I
I'm
mean,
saying like he knows more about other rappers.
how old are you guys?
I'm 21. He's
I'm 18.
Okay. Oh, so it's crazy. I'm like double the age of you. Getting old, bro. Okay, so top 5, period, to me.
Period.
Not like who are my favorite.
It doesn't have to be in a ranking either.
Okay. I mean, I would think you have to go Tupac 1. I think you have to. I think he built such a foundation. His music has been so timeless, like 25 years later, that like, and how much music he put out while he was alive. I think that you have to go him 1 no matter what. Then I think I would go Jay-Z 2. I never was really a big Biggie fan, personally. And I think Tupac had a lot more body of work too. But okay, so 2 is Jay-Z. 3, I'm gonna go Drake.
Solid.
And again, this isn't like who are my favorite. Like,
Of course, just
right.
overall.
But I'm gonna go 3 Drake.
It's tough. There's so many good ones, so I don't. Yeah,
You have to put Eminem in there.
I agree with you. Thank you.
You have to put Eminem in there. His era, I grew up in his 8 Mile era. How old were you when the 8 Mile movie came out?
I have no clue.
Maybe 2 or 3 years old, if that.
When did the movie come out? Like 2000.
Who knows?
I was in
7?
8th grade, bro. I took a girl on a date. I'll never forget it. But I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade. So I'm 35 now, 8th grade. You're like 13. So I was 22. It was about 20 years ago, bro. Okay, so that era, and you guys both didn't live through it. That era was just different. When 8 Mile came up in the theaters and Lose Yourself, that song, like, different. Mm-hmm. He owned MTV back then, like, different. Like, it was different because there wasn't social media either. So Eminem has to be there. Mm-hmm. And some people, he can be even higher. I would say that Eminem, and then I think you have to go Nas.
Okay.
That's my 5. But then if you're like, who's my 5 right now or who are my favorite 5, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
how many out of that list would you take off? If
I would take, like, if my top 5 for, like, who I'm listening to right now is, of course, going to be Ross. Of course, going to be Drake. Okay. Of course, going to be Future. Little Durk's, like, my favorite. And, you know, I like Moneybag a lot. So, like, I'd go those 5 right now.
Solid.
Okay.
But, like,
that's actually a solid 5.
But if you want to go, like, Hall of Fame 5, I would have to go, like, that 5.
That's
right?
smart.
Yeah,
No, it's
that's
a good list.
understandable.
It's a good list. Speaking about that, since we were listening to the rappers, of course, I don't know if you've had a chance to see, I don't remember who specifically. It was like the Billboards top 10 rappers of all time, which is kind of why this question is relevant right now. They had, and I don't know if you saw the rankings either. They had Jay-Z number 1, Kendrick 2.
I get beat up a lot for not talking about Kendrick a lot, but I always stay consistent with it that I've never, like, really been a deep fan of. He's an incredibly talented artist. I just haven't been really that big of a fan.
Yeah.
How do you feel about J. Cole?
I love J. Cole. See, like, these are guys, like, people would say, how can you not have Kendrick in this? You probably could be there.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. Everybody has their own opinions. Okay. Like, Wayne, like, for me, like, to not mention Wayne, I was thinking to myself, damn, I didn't say Wayne.
Yep. Wayne was 7 on that list, and that brought up, like, hella
even for me, I didn't bring up Wayne, but, like, I just got to really think about, like, yo, there's so many greats out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, Wayne can be, like, Wayne has done so much for hip-hop. I mean, truly. And what's crazy is he recorded Lollipop and, like, the Carter right here at Salt Mine Studios in Arizona. I don't know if you guys know.
What?
The Lollipop and the whole Carter 3 was recorded at Salt Mine Studios. All of it.
That's sick. I never knew that.
Yeah. His biggest song ever was recorded right here in Mesa, Arizona.
Oh,
sick.
Well, I just wanted to pick your brain on that. I just thought it was funny. Jay-Z number 1.
I mean, yo, we just heard God did that verse on the song with Khaled and Rick Ross. That was a great verse. That was a 5-minute verse. Yeah. Jay-Z's catalog is huge, and I think having Jay-Z number 1, like, I think he deserves to have that argument to be number 1. I think Jay-Z deserves to be there, number 1. Like, I think there could be other number 1s. Like, people can say Wayne's number 1. They can say Eminem's number 1. They can say Tupac's number 1. Future. I mean, people can say a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
I can't remember if Kanye was on that list, but he has to be, right?
Yeah. I'm not.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a big Kanye fan.
Being from, Illinois, I'm just over a lot of the antics.
Okay.
He's extremely talented, but, like, it's a lot more to me than that. Like,
I see. Yeah.
Understandable. That's very understandable. Speaking of, like, rappers and stuff, I wanted to actually ask you about what your favorite Rick Ross song was.
My favorite Rick Ross song was. There's a lot. What was that? It's a deep question.
Do you heavily listen to Rick Ross?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just listening to the Mastermind album on the way here.
I gotta tap in. I don't listen to Rick Ross as
really.
much.
You gotta tap into his catalogs.
I had this, like, little phase, honestly, when I was, like, maybe 13, 14 years old, where I was listening to Rick Ross a lot, but I don't know what it was about. I think it was just, like, I think it was just the people. That's what it was. it was just the people that I was very interested in watching, like, on YouTube and stuff. They were, like, heavy on Rick Ross stuff, so I think that's the reason why.
Diced Pineapples is one of my favorite songs. Obviously, Drake's in that one too. Amsterdam's one of my favorite songs by Ross. Obviously, Hustling's a huge song. There's just too many. Nobody with French. There's
so many.
There's so many songs. And
well, it's cool. I mean, again, it's cool to see because, like, you genuinely do understand, like, the game. You've been in it so long. You're passionate about it. Yes, you're not a rapper, but, you don't have to be a basketball player to be an analyst. Like, you could just be. I don't know if that analogy made sense, but, like,
I think the best thing to be is just play your role. And don't step over your boundaries.
Yeah.
And just play your role and keep working. I mean, that's all you can do, Like, I've been in rooms with the big people and been around big people, and you just got to be in the moment and, understand your role in the situation you're in.
Yeah. I did want to bring up race a little bit. Okay. And I'm not gonna try to get you canceled.
No.
This isn't like a got you podcast.
Shoot me with anything, bro. Shoot me with anything.
So I'm just curious because like it's apparent to see like, you know, the rap game is predominantly black.
For sure.
So you being a white guy, have you felt like you've had to work harder to earn credibility in the space you're in?
Such a good question. Yes. And understandable. This is the black people's and African Americans' culture. One, hip hop is based off their culture. So I have to respect that. I think everybody has to respect that. Mm-hmm. So for me to be able to be involved in their culture, in any way, in any capacity, is a blessing to me. So yes, I have had to work harder and prove to myself, like, hey, I'm not doing this for clout, or I'm not doing this to, what was the word? I forgot the word. Actually, somebody called me that a long time ago. I forgot what the word was. But
Culture vulture?
Culture vulture.
I watched that interview.
Yeah. So
and it was leading to my next question. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were finished, but I just saw the thing with, and I know this was a few years back. I don't mean to bring it back to life, but the thing with Two-Tone. Yeah. And how, you know, like claiming you made racist remarks and things like that. And I'm just curious, like, do you get that often?
So, no. Really never, actually. Mm-hmm. That situation with Two-Tone happened a couple years ago, and believe it or not, me and him have become extremely close now, which is crazy. Yeah, so all that has been settled, and he's somebody now that I have a ton of respect for, and I think he's also got to understand who I am as a person, and I wasn't innocent in some of the stuff either, with, you know, going back and forth with him. And I went on my Instagram live one day and went crazy, and like a lot of people within the industry like saw it, and like it was funny, like, you know, it was just one of those days. And me and him are in a very good place as of now, like great place.
Good, bro. That's good. I just wanted to check because, like, I'm curious. I feel like, do you always feel like you're on your toes a little bit?
Well, bro, like, you know, we have, especially in the podcasting and the media world, you have to be careful with what you say. I mean, we're on camera.
Especially in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, we're on camera. Like, yo, I mean, I can say something right here in this room right now that can ruin everything I have going for me.
Yeah.
Truly.
Any minute, any second.
I can say one thing right here, and boom, it's on camera, and boom, it's on the internet. And it's over for me. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's life. Your life can be changed in any situation within a split second. Mm-hmm. You're in jail. You can make one decision, you're dead. You can make one decision, all your money's gone. I can say one thing right here, and my career's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, life is literally based off second to second to second. Straight up. That's how at least I feel.
That's real. I mean, it is crazy when you put it in perspective, of course, because you never know. One slip up, it is it. So I feel like you've done a great job anyway. I mean, handling yourself throughout the media, because, again, it's not easy what you're doing, and you're doing a great job of it.
Appreciate you.
So I think that's, you know, take some pride in that, because you're doing a great job again. I want to take it back a little bit. You're from Illinois. You lived there 27 years. What brought you to Arizona in the first place? How did you end up here?
My grandparents have lived here for like 30 years. My mom has lived there for like 15 now, or like 10 to 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I've been coming out here for 30 years for like holidays and Christmas and Thanksgivings and just to visit, right? And, you know, the weather in Chicago got just awful snow. We never have any consistency of anything. Even in the summertime, it's raining half the month or whatever the case might be. I wanted a big change, and I moved out here, and big change, and it's just been it's been great. You know, I love Arizona, and I'm in Vegas a lot too. You know, Vegas is like a second home to me in a way. I'm there like a lot, and you never know. So.
You're running the West Coast, bro. I wasn't lying in the intro, bro.
LA, you know, LA is interesting. I've done some interviews over there, but it's so flooded. Like, I feel like here in Vegas, I love those two markets. I love the Vegas market. Believe it or not, I know, like, I'm tapped into Vegas just as I am here. Like, actually, maybe more. Like, as far as like, I know it's same thing. Here in Vegas for me is the same concept.
So, do you plan to stay in the West?
Yeah, I'm staying out here.
Arizona specifically?
Arizona and Vegas is always going to be like the Matty Ice Show's ground-based foundation, but there might be like a little change where I go, like, you know, move around for a little bit in different territories. But this will be there's a lot of things coming this way for what I'm about to do. I'm in a little bit of a really weird transition right now of my show.
Yeah.
Very weird transition. But we're still dropping a lot, but it's not like how not my formula. I have a very specific formula of what I'm doing. And it's straight arrow of exactly how I want to do it. See, for me, I like to interview 4 or 5 people in a week or 4 or 5 people in a night. See, when the Matty, for real, when the Matty Ice Show is running at its fullest and its best, when I said I have 300 interviews, 200 of them were in 21, meaning,
Whoa, what the?
Yeah, for real. A100 with you. Yeah, I was doing like 4 a week. For real.
Oh, shit.
Maybe like 180 of them. 180 to 200, yeah, was right in 21. And the reason why I love that formula is that's why I kind of took off is because, I have 4 artists that just freestyle in my studio. So I have 4 different freestyles, 4 different interviews that I can pull content from. No one can, excuse my language, fuck with me. Because I have so much content that I'll overflood. And like I could do that, or I can pick and choose what I'm posting or how I'm posting it. And like that's my favorite. Is when I have so much that I can just go nuclear. Every day it's something new. It's like, how do you keep up? And that's where I think my formula works its best too. Right now I'm still going really hard. Like, people would be like, you're still going hard. It's not I'm not in the gear that I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the one
Not
thing
that I'm not trying to. It's because I'm working on other things right now to get into a really high gear. I'm eventually getting into a higher gear. I'll go back to 4 or 5 a week. I can do 8 in a day. It's no problem. Like, bro, it's really no problem. Once you get into a rhythm with it, it's no problem. You guys will get there too. You'll understand that. It's nothing.
But that's the one thing I noticed, bro, because I'm like, this guy is posting tons of content because they're like quality over quantity. Bro, you're posting quality and quantity.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's doing it at such a rapid pace. I'm like, how the fuck are we supposed to keep up?
Well,
like, I'm not, I'm
Right.
not putting myself in like competition, but I'm like, I'm editing everything myself and stuff like that. And we get 1 video a week, couple clips here and there. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And I'm like, this dude is crazy.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, you got to understand, like, I don't edit my stuff at all. I don't touch any of my interviews. So I do have a team specifically for that. So that's why I'm able to go a little bit harder too. If I do 4 interviews, I don't need to worry about editing 4 interviews. I know it's being done. Like I said, right now on my YouTube, I have 10 that are unlisted.
Oh, yeah.
I have 10 I'm dropping, like, that are done,
Yeah.
recorded, done,
That's sick, bro. I mean,
Then you mix that in with photo shoots and content, and, you got content.
Are you ever planning on releasing those anytime soon? Or
Yeah. All these 10 will be released
Upcoming,
the next 2 weeks.
Within the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
wait, how often do you have a schedule?
I have no schedule, so it's like all about like when, like, it's all about like what am I doing that day. That's why I record a lot, and then I do everything off like it's different. It's off of like the feel of like I was just with, I was just out and I had a lot of content in Vegas that I just unloaded, and like I needed to unload that. Like that was important stuff that needed to get out there. So like for me, like it's all about what's going on too, and when is the best time that I want to get behind it and work with that specific interview. Just because I recorded, a lot of people record and don't drop for a month. I can drop whenever. And like if somebody hits me like, what, I can show, I'm gonna drop it. It's gonna be at the best. Now if an artist says, I have a specific release date, the single's coming out tomorrow, and I need this interview, that's a different situation. Right?
Yeah.
But if there's no pressure and there's nothing really extremely viral that needs to get out there, we're gonna drop it when time is the best.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? Like, this is not a normal thing in people. And have you been this way? Like your hustle, your grind. Have you been this way before this whole thing started? Like,
I'm definitely a very I definitely am very money motivated and money hungry. And when I say money motivated, meaning the right situations, the right money,
of course.
And I mean like the right, like I want to be successful. I think that's more of the best word. I want to be successful, and I want to chase as much. Everybody wants to make a lot of money. If you ask somebody, do you want to make a lot of money? They might say, if somebody says no, then they're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but now if they say to you, what's more important, money or health? Well, your health is more important, right? But if you go up to somebody and say, hey, do you want to make a lot of money? And they tell you no, then there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Do you have like a lot of people plan to have podcasts with this year, or do you think it's just like I'll hit these people up and then we'll see if they come on?
I freestyle a lot of like my guests, but I have some dream interviews and some who I like to tackle and who I'd like to get on my show.
Your guests aren't even you're not hitting them up anymore.
Majority of them I'm not hitting up.
Because, I feel like you've built enough credibility, right? People are just hitting you up now. But you
Not
have a
my
platform.
management.
You have a platform. Like,
Yeah.
you're still a regular guy in your eyes, but again, to people like us,
No,
we're
I
like,
appreciate
this
that.
is sick. Like, this guy has done something. So I think it's cool because now your model is people are coming to you, which probably makes things. Is it easier?
And it just depends, if the business is right too. You got to understand, like you guys said, it's to the point now where, if I invite on guests too. So like guests that I invite on, I'm inviting you on, but the ones that aren't, you got to go through my manager and you got to handle the business to get on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not just promoting artists because they hit me and they feel like they can just come on the show and I have to sit down with them for an hour and bring in my engineer and bring in my graphic designer and all these things, because we go all in with our show. You got to. It's a give and take situation. So there is a business situation involved in getting on my show too. You can't just get on unless you're invited, unless you handle your business. And even if you handle your business, I still have to want to do the interview and has to get approved through my management. So like, it's a whole process now.
Have you had how many? I don't know even if you can answer this technically, but like how many bad ones have you had? Like you were like, oh, this could be okay, and then we were just like
Bad interviews or bad performances and freestyles?
both.
You've had a ton.
Yeah.
Out of 300, I think you've had it. I mean, it's a
Have-
law of averages.
Have you ever
Can't say every one of them I loved.
Yeah. Have you, when people come on your show, have you not released it? You're like, I can't release it.
So I've put it on I'll put it on YouTube, like, because that's what, especially if they paid me, like, I'm gonna do my job and give them their YouTube video. But me getting behind it and posting it and promoting it, that's not gonna happen. Even if you
That's what I
pay me to do it, like, I'm not, the majority of the stuff you see on my page is pretty damn good.
Because again, you're independent, so you will fuck with the stuff that you actually fuck
Yeah,
with.
if it's great, I want the content. Like, yo,
That makes sense.
if it's great, like, we had Samara Sin on the show and she went crazy, and like T.I. found her on the show. Like, so if it's great, like, yes, I'm gonna roll it out. Of course. Why would I not want to?
Yeah, I hear you talking about her a lot. What are your like top 3 interviews you've done?
Top 3.
I know that's tough. You've done 300. Top 3
like that I've really liked.
that you've really liked, enjoyed, and like see potential in.
Well, I think my first one that like really got me in the industry, like more industry, was Boosie. So like Boosie was a big.
Oh, but you've done 2, right? Because you had one a
yeah,
while ago.
the recent I just did with Boosie, the one I just did with him recently was like a quick 5-minute thing. I had him in a dispensary. Like, we really weren't.
That's why I was like, where the fuck are they?
It wasn't really an interview, but it was like he knew me and I got 5 minutes with him. Then I interviewed him at Ethica a couple years ago, and that was like the first bigger one, I would say. Like, besides, like you said, I've had Antonio Brown on the show and different people like that. Yes. So Boosie, I really liked interviewing Billy McFarland from the Fire Festival. I thought that he's actually
That's cool.
very, very cool interview.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool interview. I enjoyed interviewing him. There's been so many good interviews. Like if I have to go through my YouTube and really.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, you've had so many. You brought up Antonio Brown. I was planning to ask you about this. So you did an interview with him 2 years ago. Given what we've seen from him now and what he's been going through, what are your thoughts on that? Like, are you concerned? Are you worried? Are you feeling like the media is blowing it out of proportion? How do you feel about Antonio Brown now that you've seen him, you've dealt with him 2 years ago before all of this happened?
So I used to be friends with Antonio Brown, and I used to be close with Antonio Brown, and meaning like where we talked daily for a good 6 months about his record label, CAB Records, CAB Records. We talked daily for a while. And the relationship ended, I would say a year ago around this time. I have not talked to him in a year. I'm not going to get into it.
Okay.
And it's just because I haven't spoke on it publicly at all. And he knows. So I'm going to leave it there.
Okay.
As far as him as a person, I think deep down Antonio has a big heart, and I think deep down he's, I think he has some demons that he's fighting, and no matter what, I'll always appreciate the fact that I got to sit down with him the first time, and I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, I don't talk to him anymore.
Okay. Matty Ice hates Antonio Brown.
No, I don't hate anybody really. I think I'm more like, I'm more just, I really liked him a lot.
Yeah.
I really liked him a lot, and I thought there was a future with what we were doing. And unfortunately, there will not be a future there. And again, he has his own demons that he's going through, and he's one hell of a football player. I think he has so much charisma, and again, he's somebody that I always will have respect for, no matter what. I just, like I said, we were cool, and like it's just unfortunately we're just not talking right now.
Yeah.
And it's not on my end. I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Did you like him as a musician?
I actually like his music.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like his music a lot.
Okay. I've never really given his music like a
I've
listen
listened
to. I can't really give my opinion on that, honestly. But
his album Heatin,
I liked it. Actually,
his album Heatin is a great album.
Yeah,
No.
I was surprised.
AB got music. Matter of fact, AB knows he was sending me his unreleased music with Jacquees and
Jacquees,
Oh,
hold
yeah, that's a
on.
big
it's on his album, but
Well,
I had the song 6 months beforehand. And the song with Fabio, I had that song way beforehand. To the moon or whatever the song.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't spoke to him in a while, but I do think his music is actually not bad, and he should be a Hall of Fame athlete, Super Bowl winner.
Has to be.
And I think one day, and one thing that I will say, very positive about Antonio is I think he's a fantastic father. That's one thing I will say about AB is he loves his kids, and I think he's a great dad, and I think that shouldn't be taken away from him because I know firsthand that he does love his kids.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever think he'll play football again?
I don't think he's going to play football anymore.
I don't think he needs to anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even about.
He says he loves it, but I don't know. I just don't know, because I just don't see it in this point of his career, and he doesn't have to anymore. If he truly loves it, he will. But do you trust him on an NFL team anymore? I don't even know.
I mean, how old is he? He's like 30.
In his 30s, right?
Is it
He's probably
mid-30s?
he's like a year younger than me.
Oh,
Really?
yeah,
He's 34?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
He's 34.
Yeah. So, and again, incredible athlete, phenomenal. And again, like you said, there's a lot more to just his athleticism. Great father. People don't speak on this stuff because the media is washing him out. And it's he's done stupid things.
The issue being him having, maybe I shouldn't even brought it up. Or it's really not. It wasn't. It's just an issue that we had personally, and it has nothing to do with him as a person or him as an athlete or a father or nothing like that. It's just a personal issue I had with him, and it's unfortunate because I really respected him, and we had a lot of great conversations.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess.
I mean, you want to.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Switching up the subject a little bit. I was actually kind of thinking about this. You talked about you had some future dream interviews that you wanted. Can you give us a couple of people who you have a dream of interviewing?
right now, if you this moment today, this second, if I can hop on a plane right now and interview anybody,
Yeah.
literally this moment, like you said, Mac, you can go to Sky Harbor, pick your ticket, you're going to interview that person. I think it would be today Patrick Mahomes, which is crazy.
Really?
Has anyone told you sound like him?
Really? No, but that's cool.
I can kind of hear the resemblance.
Right?
Now that you kind of pointed out, just a little bit, I could kind
I'll
of
take
hear
it.
That's a good thing, I think.
I'll take it.
What about, how come?
Mahomes?
Honestly, yeah, Patrick Mahomes. I'm kind of surprised you wouldn't say someone like Travis Kelce, since the Kelce brothers have a podcast. So
I just met Travis Kelce too.
Which
Yeah,
I saw,
that's-
and I wanted to dive into your Super Bowl experience too. But what about? I'm surprised you picked an athlete over an artist.
Patrick Mahomes right now is my I've been wanting to interview him for a while actually, but he's just I love football.
Mm-hmm.
I like betting on football. Mm-hmm. I take it seriously. I like what's called to do future betting. But besides that, I've really been locked into this kid's career. This Patrick Mahomes' career. He's only 8 years younger than me. Patrick Mahomes' career. And him as a person, his family. I want to interview his dad, his mom even. I've been following his mom a lot. Randy Mahomes on Instagram. And Silky P on Instagram, his dad. I really like the Mahomes family, and those are my dream interviews right now. And it could be his mom, Patrick, or his dad, which is weird, but those are the people I want to sit down with right now. Because that's something that I really want to do. As an interviewer, sometimes we got to do what we want to do too.
I was gonna say, and that would be such a cool, because that's a personal achievement for life. You're like,
I want to talk about how you raised this future Hall of Famer, the best quarterback ever to play the game, and how you raised him to be such a good person and so locked in, and the competitiveness, as a child, and I want to know about all that.
So, okay, and as you said, you met Travis Kelce. I mean, again, the Super Bowl was in Arizona. Dope experience. We weren't out there, but you were out there, bro. How was that? Like,
So, really, I stayed really low key because I was invested, financially and emotionally into the Chiefs a lot, and I really wanted. I actually was home for the game, but after the game, Ross was out at Casa Amigos in Scottsdale, so I linked up with Rose afterwards, and we popped bottles that night. It was a great night, and Chiefs won, celebrated like crazy. And then the week later, Ross was in, this week, just now, we were in Vegas, and like a week ago, a week ago, after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and we were in Vegas, and the Chiefs were celebrating the Super Bowl there. Kelce was there, and I got to meet Kelce, and like, I'm not gonna lie, like, that was like a big moment. Like, I wasn't like starstruck or anything, but that was like a big moment. Like, bro, I'm like a big fan of you, bro.
That's
like,
it.
you're the number one tight end ever. Like, I love your team, love the grind, and like, that was awesome. And he was super nice, super genuine, and he actually commented the picture that I posted of me and him, and like, that was cool. So just a cool dude.
It's really cool.
I'm curious, when you meet these higher, like, A-list celebrities and stuff like that, when you approach them, of course, you're just a regular guy. Hey, I'm a fan. Cool. But you have a platform. Maybe you want to have them on. Do you approach them in that moment and you're like, hey, would you possibly, or are you like, I don't want to solicit that way?
Not really in that moment, especially like when I'm around like, different people. Like, I'm not trying to like network like that, I just think I want to get my face seen. Like, yo, what's up, bro? He knows who I am now.
That's really
that's
cool.
smart. That's a smart approach.
He knows who I am now. I'll see him later down the road. You know what I mean? He
That's
commented my he knows who I am. He knows what I do. And I think that's the best way to do it. Sure, I'm going to ask him for an interview. I already have in the past. I've already DM'd him. I didn't get a response, but,
It happens, yeah.
Speaking about Vegas, you said that's, like your second foundation, basically. Vegas is basically like the home of UFC. A lot of boxing stuff, training facilities there. Is there anyone in the UFC that you want to interview? Anyone in the boxing community?
Are you interested in getting back into interviewing athletes? I know you said you want to grow out of your music niche, but are you going to go back into athletes? Do you like interviewing athletes?
Athletes, it's weird because athletes can also get in trouble with things they say on your show too. Like,
that's very true.
Yeah, they are.
That is very
athletes doesn't really. It has to be an athlete that I want to interview, like a Mahomes, or a Kelce, or an athlete that I want to interview at that moment. Something like that.
Yeah.
But UFC and boxing, I'm not. Now, obviously, I'm gonna watch the Ryan Garcia and Tank fight.
Yep.
And actually, Two Tone's very close with Ryan Garcia.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's
actually
gonna
really
be
cool.
dope. That'll be a big moment for him.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely into that. But like, no, boxing and UFC, I've never really got into. Floyd Mayweather, yes. But that fight I will. But no, I don't have any like dream people to fight with boxing or UFC.
And then in Vegas, do you you stay out there for a while? Do you have a home?
No, see, like I just go out there and like I go out there so much I get super cheap rates on rooms in certain places. So I'll look for the cheapest rates, and then I like to go out there when Ross is out there, and so I'll run interviews out there when Ross is out there. So like for instance, this month I'm going to be out there the 16th and 17th, which is actually March Madness starting, and this rooms are a little crazy.
Sick.
But I'll run interviews right out of the hotel room, something similar like this setup. 2 chairs, something like this.
How do you care? Because your quality for the sets look amazing, like every time. So even when I'm like, this dude's on the road.
Yeah, I truly, I take this seriously. Is like what I'm not posting to post. There's never going to be a post you're going to see on my page just because I feel like I want to post just to post. Every time I post, like there has to be a meaning, or like the content has to meet, has to be up to par. The 2 things that I never post that I posted recently, and this is how connected I am with my page, is I just posted 2 things of the Chiefs, a Mahomes video and a Frank Clark video. I never would post that, but it meant something to me, so I posted it, and that's why I did it. But besides that, it's very on brand and very on point with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Man, that was great. I mean, again, that's all I have.
I think that's all I have too.
But Matty Ice,
I think we got everything. We got everything.
we covered a whole lot, bro. But again, amazing things you're doing. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, this is honestly, this is a big opportunity for us. And
big opportunity for us. And
really
plus,
appreciate it.
Regardless of what it is, like, it was just nice to sit down with you and get to know you.
Appreciate you guys. It's a great platform. Appreciate you guys. You guys are doing great things. I'd recommend anybody to come on this show. You guys are great interviewers. How you guys go about it is great. So any future guests that you guys reach out to, or if they reach out to you, however the case might be, definitely recommend people coming onto this show. And I hope you guys get the sponsorship with Prime.
Appreciate it, bro. Really
they should work with
that.
you guys. And before I leave, I definitely want to shout out, obviously, Belaire, and give a major mention to Jeter K, my manager, who is a mentor to me and an incredible person, and somebody that I have a lot of respect for, who's opened the doors for me in a lot of ways and has my back. So I want to shout out Jeter. My boy G Shit Emirati, G Shit Emirati, big artist out of California right now. Signed to Ethica and Ethica Music, so definitely want to give them their respect. And of course, Maybach Music, Rose, and we're gonna keep going, baby. We're gonna go up. Let's go.
Perfect. Well, Rick Ross, I'll be DMing you, so let's talk about it. But Matty Ice, thank you so much. Again, we will see y'all next week. Hope y'all enjoyed. All of his links are down in the description. Go give him a follow. Again, he's the coldest interviewer in the West Coast, and he's going to be taking over. Trust me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Love y'all. Heating Up Podcast is out.
Peace out.